Hello everybody, how's it going, and welcome back to the As Always podcast, episode 133. I'm one of your hosts, James, and I'm joined, as always, by Tyler.
As always, how's it going, my friend?
Pretty well, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad,
Yeah.
Raring for some gaming, this cursed episode that almost didn't happen.
Yeah,
It's an episode of pain.
Yeah, it's been 50 minutes since we were meant to start recording, so there's that. But we're joined by Ethan today, another one of the four pillars.
How's everyone doing? I'm doing fantastic. I've just sat here with an orange t-shirt on that makes me feel obnoxious. It's great.
That's good.
That was me last episode of this show.
Yes.
With a really ugly orange t-shirt.
Oh yeah, no, it's got these two hideous blokes on it that pretend, I think, to be like Men in Black or something, but they're just there.
Nah, they're just a couple of my employees.
Yeah, there
don't
you
worry
go.
about them.
I've
got my... People can see in my camera, I got my door open that's usually not open, so I'm looking after my dog. My parents are away this weekend, so they dropped off the dog to my house. So I've left it ajar so the dog can fucking come in and out because she likes to wander around. So if you see a dog walking around in the background, that's what's happening. That's what is
Call
going
out.
on.
I don't think you ever have to apologise for the presence of a dog. So
No. Coco,
Yeah.
come say hi.
Oh yes, get the
Coco.
dog.
get the dog in. Dog cast. Oh, yeah.
Don't forget to drop a like for the dog.
Dude.
But
Go.
she might be upstairs, so she might not hear me. But she will wander back and
shit.
forth because she just wants to be around people, and it's just me right now. But housemate's gone to bed, thank God, because there were it was a long weekend here, and everyone came home drunk after I got home from work, and we're singing karaoke upstairs, and that was the beginning of how we couldn't record on time. There's the doggo. Hey Coco.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Come-
Dog who I cannot see but do
sit up.
Yeah, we can't
comprehend.
see, but
Come say hi. Come sit up here. No,
Hello.
she's tired.
Hello,
She's camera
dog.
shy.
Goodbye, dog.
shy.
Yeah, no.
Come sit up. Come on.
Dogs are always camera shy. Like they'll be perfectly lovely when there's no camera about. You get a camera out and they just hide. They just hide and try to do
how it
something
be
as
on occasion.
unflattering as possible.
you know, rumor has it if you like the podcast, the dog will come closer and be here. So
Yeah, you know how it
like,
goes.
drop a like.
Drop a
Plus,
like.
They like
Drop a like
engagement.
for the dog.
Yeah. Oh, she's on screen now. You can see her.
Ah, yes,
see?
lovely.
Everyone must
What
have
a
liked the
lovely,
podcast.
lovely dog.
All right, she's jumped to the bed. There we go. Look at hey Coco. There you are. Say hi to everyone. Say hi to the tens of thousands of listeners that only the video podcast people will see.
It'll be magnificent if Coco then shat on the bed. Just
And it really wouldn't be. I'd
not
be
for you,
upset.
but for us. I mean,
Yeah.
because then you'd have to just sit there with the shit on your bed as you finish the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been that would be somewhat shocking, actually. So, Coco, don't get the episode demonetized on YouTube, please.
Yeah. Please don't, Coco.
Thanks, Coco.
She's a Jack Russell cross poodle. For those wondering, she looks more Jack Russell, but she has the long legs of a poodle. That's about it. But she looks and barks like a fucking Jack Russell and has a hypo Jack Russell senses. But it's what it is.
Hefty poodle. A heftiest
Yep.
poodle.
She's hefty. People are going to be mad, but she's now sitting behind my chair, and I've got to face the camera so we can do this. So we can do this podcast. Anyway, yes, ladies and
Top
gentlemen.
5 poodles in the community. Sorry, alright.
The As Always podcast brought to you by patreon.com/as always entertainment powers this, so it wouldn't happen without our producers over there. So that is King Richard III, Josh, Duh Vil Yay, Damian, Olberik, Avry Dobbs, Cat94, Real Cinema, Colton, the Creampie King, and Ballsack47, the Liar and Deceiver. Thank you, Sweet Vintage Lads, for producing this show and making it happen. If you like what you're listening to or seeing here and you want to see more, head over to patreon.com/as always, and for just $1 a month, you can get exclusive access to the Clubhouse podcast, the best podcast on the internet that comes out every week. This podcast doesn't get released, plus early access to the Cinema Room podcast and early access to videos that James and I do with big projects and more exclusive fun little perks. So head over there and check us out. Support us. Our goal of 300 patrons, we are very close to it for 2020, which is very exciting. So thank you for all the support. All right. Let's get into it, lads. What are we playing at the moment, Ethan? What's the game of choice these days?
Well, oh god, like what am I playing right now? Well,
Yeah, what?
I just
not
did
right this second, but
right,
you know,
right this second. I'm playing my brain. No, I've just finished doing a playthrough of The Witcher 3 Hearts of Stone expansion. That's for something lovely and good. I just also finished the Mafia Definitive Edition, and that was pretty damn fantastic, I must say. And
Yeah, right.
and now until something else drops, I'm sort of stuck with nothing really to play. But I did give that Star Wars Squadrons a try as well, and
How's that?
That was you know what? It was all right. It wasn't a game that I'd say you could sink too many hours into, but you could have a bit of fun with it. So,
right,
can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite games of all time, like growing up, was Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Oh
I fucking loved it. So this is a standout. When I first saw it, I was like, holy shit, this is so much nostalgia. Did you ever play Rogue Squadron?
Yes, I did.
Where does this stack up?
Old one's better, but that's because of nostalgia. Like this one is,
that's a good point.
this one's you know, more modern, obviously. But I get the feeling it's designed for VR. Like I get the feeling it's meant to be a VR game, but you can play it without. And at times it feels a bit weird, but when you're actually flying about, shooting at shit and all that stuff, it is quite lovely and feels quite good. And then you can divert the power between your engine, your shields, and your weaponry, and then you can do some hefty stuff. And it just makes you feel a bit more, you know, immersed in what's going on around you, because you have more autonomy over the starfighter you're in. And I think it's really neat. But, you know, for nostalgia's sake, I'd say that Rogue Squadron, you know, come on. It's not going to go there,
no.
is it?
No. There's so much about Rogue Squadron that's just such a standout thing.
Yeah.
Just from the voices, like I still remember the fucking voices and phrases that some of the like NPC characters would make and stuff like that. Like it's just so great. But I watched gameplay of it recently just purely because of Squadron coming out. And I was like, man, this doesn't hold up, hey, from what I remember. What a fucking just absolutely doesn't hold up. But the music and the character voices I still like remember so fondly, so that's fun.
Yeah. It's got a nice art style as well, Star Wars Squadrons does. Like I like the art style, I like what it's going for. It's a nice game.
I haven't played the Mafia Definitive Edition yet. You have, and James, you have as well. What was it like?
I have.
Well, do you want to go first, or shall I, James?
Yeah, let me go first, because I feel like you had a better experience than I did.
Oh, here we go. I'm excited about this.
I'm not done with it yet. I'm still streaming it, but it has been a bit of a mess on my end, really. For a start, there's a lot of, and this might be a difference between the PC version and the console version, but for me, there has been a ton of like graphical issues just constantly. It reminded me a lot of Mafia 3, to be honest, in terms of the way just shadows wouldn't load in for some reason. You'd get pop-ins all over the place. Lighting issues where like you've got like the sun coming around a corner or coming through a window, it would just like spaz out, and it was just so weird. It's just really fucking weird. And also, this is an issue that I just have with the game in general. Is the game, the story itself is like fine and cool. I've got my own issues with that, but it's whatever. But the way it plays just feels fucking horrible, and I hate it. I just think it plays like an arcade game, like it plays like an old game, but looks like a new game, and it just doesn't work.
So it's almost
for me.
like feels like a remaster, not a remake.
Kind of, I don't know, because I've never played the original, but to me it feels like a game that was made in 2002 that just looks like a game that was made now. And that's just how it plays for me. It just doesn't. The shooting is weird. The only thing I'll say is really cool and is fun is the driving. I think works well, and all the cars feel different, and it's got there's some good physics there. But I think the animations look really poor. The running looks weird. The shooting's bad. Like sometimes you'll be going through a chase sequence and like the character will be like jumping up things, and like the animation doesn't finish, and there's no like lead into the next. It's just like these weird jump animations, and then you land and like you fucking just hits the ground like a sack of bricks. It's so fucking weird.
It's so weird.
It's such an odd game. It just feels like they didn't quite polish it enough. They didn't finish it. But it feels almost like it's close to it. Like, but I've been enjoying it. Maybe sometimes for the wrong reasons, but I've been having fun streaming it anyway.
Yeah, no, I feel you on a lot of that. Especially, you know, not the not polished point, because it certainly is not. I think on PC, for some reason this time around, usually PC gets the shit end of the stick when it comes to optimization and stuff like that. And Dennis is barking in the background. I really apologise. I need to go downstairs and curb stomp him. No, I think on PC this time around, though, it's not doing too badly. Like, obviously there's still a few issues. There's some lighting issues. The faces look. I don't even know where to begin on those. They look modern, but not. So they have that modern. So like James said, feels like a 2002 game that just has the skin of a 2020 experience, if you will. The faces, for example, some of them look ridiculous. And also, the scenes and the storytelling and the narrative is designed to be as in keeping as possible with the 2002 game, or whenever it came out, I can't remember. And as a result, some of the scenes fall flat because it's like, in that structure of two characters just talking, and it just goes somewhere. And I mean, I wouldn't call it bad overall. Like, I've been having a great time with it. I quite like the story. I think it jumps a bit all over the place, which again it plays into that too. Old game repackaged, if you will.
Right.
Because instead of fleshing out, they've added some flesh to the story. They really have. But instead of fleshing out in between things, you're jumping from this point to this point to this point. You do one thing here, then you move on here, and you're in a different scenario altogether. And so you don't see everything really play out. You just see after it has, and when you're on to the next thing. And
that's so odd. It's so fucking odd.
It's a bit of odd
weird
storytelling,
structure,
but I feel like it in for when it came out, that was the sort of style of a game. It was more designed to be arcadey and stuff like that. And now they've remade it for now, but they want to be in keeping with it as possible, don't they? And
I guess that's what I'm confused by. So it's like, what are they making it for? To remake the game, but at the same time they're like, but we also don't want to remake it.
Well, everything's recast and remade.
Yeah, I guess it was remade by a different team, so it's like
not,
they're like,
yeah.
we want to remake it as faithfully as possible to the original sort of thing.
I hate to make this comparison, right? But like, I'm gonna give you an example. Everyone's gonna sigh in a second. So if they remade Assassin's Creed 1, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they still kept all the missions where it's like you're just doing the same missions over and over again, like that repetitive structure of like every sequence you go to get a target and you do an eavesdrop mission, or you know what I mean? Like if they didn't change that to make it a bit more of a variety of missions to find your target, that's what it feels like. Where they tried where it's playing like an old game.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
Game.
Yeah, it's got that old style.
I think they should have fleshed out more. Because it's like when you look at something like Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's like they haven't gone, oh, let's remake it but keep it faithful to Final Fantasy VII. They've gone, let's remake it, but like, what if we made it today? Like, how would we add so much to the story? How would we flesh out the gameplay? How would we change it so that the game feels like it could come out today? And that's how you do a remake. Whereas this feels a lot more like, let's just release the same game but make it look a bit better. And that's
I will say this
for me.
On PC, it does look stunning, especially at night in like the rain, like because of all the business going on these days. It just looks lovely. I can say that it does look nice at night, and I did have a good time with it. And the story isn't impossible to follow. It's not like they have fleshed it out a fair bit compared to what it used to be. I feel.
Had you played the original before, Ethan?
Not to my understanding. I didn't play it. I know people who said similar things. Like, this doesn't just take that story, put it over. It does add stuff to it, but I wouldn't say that it's easy to follow in the sense of how it breaks things down. It's what you call it. It's not confusing. It's just I don't know, just fast, just quick. Sometimes it glosses over things, and as a result,
infer a lot from like what they're talking about, sort of. Like sometimes it will just skip and then it will be like, oh, this thing happened in between, and like you're just sort of meant to figure it out, and it's a little bit weird. I think it's very fast. Like, so I think the build up to the bulk of it's a bit confusing as well. Like, because I was just confused as to why I should give a shit about any of these characters, and like the protagonist especially, like he goes from driving a cab around and like he's scared of the Mafia. Next minute, yeah, I'm fucking with you, I'm working with you. And like, it felt weird. And people have said in the original, he was almost forced into it because the opposing family was like gonna kill him and like he'd be fucked. Like he had to join them, like he really had no choice. And as he like joined them, he found he actually kind of liked it and like got into that life. But then he realized like, oh, it conflicted with how he felt as a person. And like, that was sort of the story, the original. It was this like conflicting story. But in this one, like he's not forced into it. He's just suddenly is like, yeah, fuck it.
They battered his cab, and he went, you know what? I'm gonna fuck these boys up. Let's go get in with the Mafia. Yeah.
And then he fucking kills some people with a baseball bat, and like the animations are all messy, and then he's just like bombing shit with fucking Molotovs. It's fucking weird.
And then
it's
he
a bit
licks the boot of the kingpin, if you will, and then time just jumps ahead, and you're just a mobster.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I got a suit now. Everything's good. I'm part of the family. It's cool.
Yeah. No,
It's
it
a
does
bit of a
jump
weird
ahead a
one.
lot. It does jump ahead, misses out quite a fair bit of flesh, but I think the story's pretty neat. I will say this: it ended quite well, but I won't go into how. Like it ended quite nicely. It was quite a nice ending. I presume you haven't finished, have you, James?
I've not. No, I'm on.
No,
I'm getting close to the end. I think I've got a few chapters, like 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah, I shan't go into how it works out.
And I will play it, so yeah, don't go into it.
Yeah, but it's a good, satisfying ending that'll, make you go, oh.
It'll make you go, oh. It'll make you go, oh.
Guys.
No, it will make you go, oh.
What? What's up?
My camera, it's just frozen.
Just are you on OBS?
Yeah.
Yeah, when that happens to me, I just click on it, change, and then reselect it again.
Click on
and it sort of
what?
reloads itself. Well, so double click on it and change the device to something else, and then change it back to it.
Oh right, okay.
That's what I do.
Okay, HD Pro webcam. Oh god, it's really. Hang on. It's really overexposed. This is such a cursed podcast.
This is honestly, people don't understand what was going on behind the scenes. We probably should talk about it.
Yeah, we should. Oh god.
What a disaster. I talked
Nightmare.
about the karaoke going on, but George it was going to be a 4 Pillars episode. George got sick. Then James's camera just wasn't working, and I was just thinking to myself, guys, do we just call an audible and the universe is telling us don't record today? Delay the show 24 hours. But here we are, we're recording, we're trying.
Screw the universe.
Yeah,
Fuck,
the universe.
fuck you, universe. Yeah, exactly.
I can't change it.
Leave it then. Allow it. It's fine. Let's allow this episode to be cursed.
I might have to,
because it's not going any other way. And
this
nobody.
is just the way it is.
Nobody watches a
leave it just
podcast with me in it to not witness things go
God.
cursed. Everything
true.
needs to go pear shaped. Otherwise, what is the point?
Yeah,
Blurred
I'm
it.
with-
All right. Should be okay.
What is wrong with you?
So yeah,
We're
Mafia,
good.
pretty all right.
Pretty alright.
Mafia Definitive Edition.
That's
pretty
what I
alright,
would.
let's
That's
talk.
what I would probably call it. Yeah, it's pretty alright.
Pretty all right. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. I'm
It's
gonna
fun,
play
it's
it. I'll give it a
enjoyable.
crack. Yeah, I'll give it a crack for sure. For sure.
Mhm.
Excellent. And what else are you playing, James?
What else?
You
am I
obviously Hearts of
playing?
Stone. You've replayed.
Yeah,
for
played through
your
Hearts
video.
of Stone. Yeah, of course. Been doing that. Beyond that, nothing really. I've been replaying through Final Fantasy VII Remake with Elva because we played it. We started playing it before Ghost of Tsushima came out, but then that came out and I was playing that and she was playing that. But now we've come back. We're playing through Final Fantasy VII again, and it's great. I love revisiting it. It's so fucking good. It's just solidified how much I fucking love it. And that's my happy place is Final Fantasy VII.
Wow.
I've only played a little bit of it for a
I
sponsorship.
love it so
They,
much. It's
They said, "Hey, advertise our game for a little dosh, for a little wad of dosh," and I went, "You know what?
What a dot.
You know what? Why not?" And so I did. I gave him a little bit of a, I gave him a little bit of a promotion, and it was alright. It was a good time. I don't know if I could say that the game would be vastly for me, but but I was more than happy to advertise a game that I know people love. Like I already know people who love this game. Happy to promote it. For a little bit of dosh. Why not?
Yeah, for sure. All good. That makes sense.
I still have only played it the one day I started playing it. I loved everything I
no.
played so far. Bro, I have 7 jobs and do push-ups. I don't have time.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
I know.
I will have time. I will play it because again, I got 4 weeks today is my last day at full time, and then I
Yeah,
go part time, and then
Then you
we
go.
get to some serious gaming.
You get some serious gaming. You got any content prepared for when you're off and onto the grind?
I've got it planned in my head, but I don't have it prepared because I need the time to prepare it.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
I have planned what I want to be working on when I get to that point.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Have you
Yeah,
got a plan?
Yeah, I've got plans. And I've got a plan right now of what I'm doing. I feel like I've got a good plan with just what I'm doing with my channel at the moment. And I'm just putting out videos more now than I have, even though I am still full time, because I'm just trying to get the sort of snowball rolling, and hopefully the momentum builds and builds and builds before I start going, not full time YouTube, but full on, YouTube in comparison to what I used to do.
It's a good way to go, yeah.
So I'm just trying to pump out at least a video a week and stream once a week, and then still do the podcast highlights, and that's been working. I do Fable videos or Horizon videos, and they get views. Obviously, my Assassin's Creed gets more views, but like, if I didn't do anything, if I did something that wasn't Assassin's Creed, it wouldn't get even 1,000 views. Whereas now they do. Like, I put a Fable video, I get a few thousand views. I've got Fable subscribers, I've got Horizon subscribers, and I still do those AC videos and rant about it, and that gets lots of views, and it'll be good. And I'll play Valhalla when it comes out. I've decided I'm going to do a platinum trophy stream, so I'll just start streaming it, and the series will continue until I get the platinum, and then I'll never play the game again. So that's the plan.
Yeah,
you're going to lose your mind.
My plan is just to wait for games to fucking come out and then play them. It's about as in depth as my plans get.
Yeah.
I go right. This game's coming out. Play it. Bit of dash. And then away we go.
With the dash, keep the dough coming in, boys. Keep the dash coming in. Oh, that was
exactly
wrong. But
exactly.
I have a big plan because I've had to plan things because I've got like sponsorship things that are happening all the way until like mid-December, and so I've had to plan a bunch of videos that I'm going to be doing.
That's awesome.
So I've got a big list of different things here that I'm going to be working on. But currently it's Hearts of Stone. Which is going well. Hopefully I can get it done tomorrow and then get the fucking thing, because it's really tight. Like, I've got to get it put it up on this thing so that the company fucking Skillshare can be like, yeah, that's good, you're ready to put it up. And if that's the case, then I'll be good.
But can't you just do the the sponsorship aspect of the video and show them what you're going to say about it? Isn't that all they care about? Or do they want to see?
Depends.
They want the whole thing as unlisted, so they can. I don't know. I guess they want to see how I integrate it. So they see how you integrate it, and also make sure that the video that it's integrated in doesn't make them look like cunts. I guess they want a video. Yeah, because they might be like, "Oh, we don't like that you've put this in, a KKK video or something."
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Or like a politically charged video. Or,
there you go. You don't, as long as you don't make them look politically affiliated or like arseholes. And
they'll be like, "Oh, it's The Witcher."
It's somewhat, mature and appropriate in some senses. Then it's fine. It's
yeah, true.
Yeah,
fair play. Yeah, I mean, I do have the. I was going to do the Valhalla real life history videos. Like, I do want to do those again. That and having more time in my hands will make it so much easier to do, because it's so impossible. Like, if I was going to work on that now, I would not put out any videos or stream at all, because that's like all my free time would go to do those. But I'll just have to do it differently, because the game will have already come out. So instead of it being a series about Viking and Saxon history leading into the game, it'll be I think I'm going to do the series like going through the events of the game and then compare it to what happened in real life history with the real people, and integrate it with the locations you go to and talk about that, and events, historical characters, and even when we have those sorts of Middle East real assassin connections, I can then link it to that history of the real assassins video as well. So that's probably what I'll do with that. So I'll still do that. That's my Valhalla plan: stream it all and do those history videos, and then just keep doing Horizon Forbidden West and Fable updates, and get into that. I'm streaming Horizon now and try to finish that right before Valhalla, and then I'll do the Fable trilogy after that as well.
That sounds like fun. See, as far as games are concerned, that I'm gonna probably cover when it comes to it. I'm thinking, obviously this month we've got Watch Dogs Legion. I reckon I'll give that a go, just see how it goes.
Fuck that.
I mean, I played 3 hours of it a couple months ago, and I thought, you know what? If you remove the entire concept of the community manager sticking a cat in a washing machine?
Wait, what?
No, he's the product
Product.
manager.
Oh,
manager thing.
That
That's
guy.
right. That's right. Yeah. No, if you remove that guy,
that guy, yeah,
you
that
know,
piece of shit, yeah.
you know what? I'll approach it as a game. I'll be fair to it, but I think one of us has to go near it. Like, you know, for the sake of you.
It can be.
glad
You.
it's
It
you.
can definitely be. You.
I am more than happy to be the one to take the clapped games, because you know that I will absolutely rip it to pieces and it'll be beautiful.
Exactly. If I had like
I can't wait.
when I'm, you know, doing YouTube as my primary focus, any big game I play, I'll do like a nice review for and do that. I just don't have, like, this month I wouldn't have the time to do Watch Dogs, but if I got, and I wouldn't buy it either, like if Ubisoft gave me a code, I'd play it just to do a ripping review on it. But like, James, if I was to get the code like tomorrow, what would I say? I'd say I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it, man.
I'm not doing it, man.
No,
I'll playing it.
I'll be more than happy to just give that game a go. I mean, I did play 3 hours a couple of months ago, as I said, and I didn't come away from that thinking that was total shit. I came away from that thinking, all right, well, it just plays like Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2, but
yeah.
So I know that I'm not gonna have any problems with how the game plays. I might not necessarily be too big of a fan of the whole concept of play as anyone. I think that's just a bit weird.
Yeah.
But beyond that, yeah, I'll give it a go. Why not? What's the worst that could possibly happen? And then of course you got Valhalla in November. You got Cyberpunk,
Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories.
Ooh. Yes.
Big. Don't forget that. Can't forget the Kingdom
There
Hearts
is
game.
so much gaming happening end of this year.
Spider-Man.
All happening at once.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Crazy.
Speaking of Spider-Man, we have to talk about this new face model.
We
for the
fucking
Spider-Man
do.
remaster.
Okay.
We can't
Right.
not
Yeah.
talk about this on this show.
So where do you stand with it then? Like, where do you two stand with it?
Well, I mean,
James, you go.
personally, I'm personally like,
Do you
I'm
want to
over
explain?
it.
Can someone, for those who
Okay,
don't know,
yeah, all right.
explain what's going on?
yeah. So in the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man PS4 remaster coming as part of a bundle with Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PlayStation 5, where they've done a bunch of different stuff. They've added obviously ray tracing, improved textures, improved lighting, improved frame rates.
Looks
Bits
amazing.
and bobs like that. It looks incredible. But also, they have changed the face model for Peter Parker because they said they wanted a model that was closer to that of Yuri Lowenthal, who is the mocap actor for Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And so they wanted a face model that matched his better, so that when he's doing the mocap, it translates better to the character model. To make it look more realistic, which is fine. I'm at this point, a lot of people are not happy about this. Really angry about it. There's just a lot of different opinions flying around. I'm in the camp of, it is obviously a weird change, but if it had to be done, it had to be done. It's a really weird one. It's going to take a bit of getting used to, but it's how it is, so you got to get on with it. And that's just how it be. Obviously at this point, I prefer the original. I think it's got more identity to it, and I recognize it, and it's like, that is the one. Like, but obviously over time, I'm gonna get used to this new one, and maybe seeing it be more realistically animated is gonna make me resonate with it more and be like, that is Peter Parker now, and it's gonna work. So I'm gonna give it a chance. If I come out of Spider-Man the remaster being like, nah, I still feel weird about it, then that's how it is. But you know, if it had to be done, it had to be done. I'm sure they wouldn't make this decision lightly. They wouldn't just decide, we're gonna do it and tell them it's for this reason. Like, the only other reason I could see them doing it, other than the reason they gave, is, I guess, because maybe they fell out with the guy, but that doesn't make any sense. It's a weird one too, because it's like, why does the animation not translate? Like, when you look at stuff that Naughty Dog does, you look at like the voice actor for a character, or the mocap actor for the character, and then the face model for the character, they look completely different as people. They look entirely different. But they managed to animate that well, so I don't really understand their reasoning necessarily, but whatever. I mean,
let's be honest with ourselves. Like, I got a lot to say on this, because I'll get to the reason why I think they really have changed the face model, because I don't think that's the real reason of what they've said. I don't think that's the reason.
I don't buy it.
And there is a reason, I think, and I'm not. It's neither here nor there. We'll get to that in a sec. But I think if you're gonna change the face, right, you've done it by the start of the next generation, of which will make multiple sequels to this game in this generation, no doubt. You've done it to the first game. So now when people play it on the PS5, from the first game onwards, that's what the face looks like. It'll look the same in the second game, in Miles Morales, and in the third game, however many they make, his face will look the same. The voice hasn't changed. People saying it's a recast, like, the voice is the same. It's not a recast. It's the same character. It's the same actor actually playing the character. It's just a different looking face. It's again, the first game. They've redone to the first game. It's not like in the Revelations where they changed the face model for Ezio. That was annoying because it was his third game. And it's like, this guy doesn't even look like him. But also, no one complained that much about recasting because it was still Roger Craig Smith voicing him, and that's what mattered way more than the face model.
Yeah.
As well. That's my 2 cents. I think the face model looks fine. I think it'd be more weird if, like, the second game they changed the face model. It's like, okay, that's a bit odd. Because you'd go from playing the first game, if you were going to replay it, and then you play the second game, you're like, why does he look so different? Whereas now it's like, you can play the first game, and then play the second game, play Miles Morales, and he looks the same everywhere.
There's consistency on the platform.
They've created a consistency that they're going to use going forward, so that I'm fine with that. Now, let's be honest, the real reason, one, people are mad, is because he looks like Tom Holland, and people are like, lots of people don't like Tom Holland. Well, Tom Holland Spider-Man, for whatever reason. But also they don't like the fact that they're trying to make it like the MCU Spider-Man, which also is the reason I think they've done it, is because they want their Spider-Man to be recognizable to the mainstream audience, because Tom Holland Spider-Man is so insanely popular. He's the most popular Spider-Man of all time.
Really, and that's why?
And I don't mean that when I say most popular of all time. Of course, you hardcore fans of the other ones like, no, he's not, because me and my circle jerk of friends think Tobey Maguire's the best. Well, fact is, his Spider-Man's made the most money of any Spider-Man ever. He's the most popular Spider-Man to the mainstream audience, and that's just a fucking fact. It's just a fucking fact. Even though you and your friends might not think so, it's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it be. Spider-Man Far From Home made billions.
Money talks, and no Spider-Man's ever made the money Tom Holland's has made. And it's what it is. But I do think I honestly believe Insomniac, or who, you know, the main brands involved with this, Sony, want their Spider-Man to look similar to the movie Spider-Man because it will sell better. They can put that face on the game and people will think that don't know, parents of kids will think that is the same Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That would be
I
insane,
genuinely
though.
believe this is a marketing pitch to make their Spider-Man look like Tom Holland. It really is. I
That
have no
sounds
problem with that.
crazy to me.
I have no problem with that, but I'm a conspiracy theorist here, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why
they're doing it to. They're doing it to
I don't
conspire
believe that.
to watch everybody. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
No,
They're
not convinced.
It's
I
a
think
genius
beyond-
move. It's genius. It's a genius marketing move.
Yeah, I don't care which one way or another, but I feel like if there's one thing that people should be people have the right to be mad about here is, you know, that they've gone from a rather, you know, average looking dude to somebody, you know, quite chiseled, quite, you know, I guess kind of movie-esque, like Hollywood-esque, like
Like Tom Holland.
just a decent looking bloke. I feel like it takes away from that Spider-Man could be anyone's front, and that could be what some people are mad about as opposed to anything else. And I just honestly don't give a fuck. I just know that that's a fair argument.
You also see his face 4 times.
Yeah.
By the way, like he's wearing
You
a
see a
suit the whole
grand
time.
total of 4
Yeah,
times.
but I think my main issue here is that, for one, I just think he looks. I liked the unique design of the original quite a lot, and I also think this one looks really young. I think they need to age him up a little bit. Like I think he does look quite young. This new.
I mean, to be fair, I look young, and I'm 25.
Yeah, but he looks younger than you.
I
Like
honestly
he looks like
does
a
he look younger
teenager
than
to me. Yeah, I think so. To me,
Significant.
like when I look at it, I'm like, something's a bit off there, and I think he needs a bit of a change, maybe a bit of a hairstyle change too. But
then he won't look like Tom Holland Spider-Man.
It's I don't buy
I'm
that. That's
telling-
why they've done it. That's
but
bullshit.
James, you're saying
That's
like you said,
insane.
Naughty Dog don't need the actors of voices and faces to match. You think you're calling bullshit on that? Then what's the reason
Yeah.
they're doing it?
Fuck, I don't
you're
know, man.
But and you can't deny that he does look like Tom Holland. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he does.
So
a
you
bit.
think it's a coincidence that they've remodeled the face and it just so happens to look very similar to the most successful financial movie Spider-Man that is also the current movie
exactly.
Spider-Man? That's not a coincidence, man. That's
It is
not
the
a
business
coincidence.
move. It is the
Yeah,
it is
with
the
the smoke
business
there's
move,
fire.
isn't it?
Yeah, maybe
it makes sense
Maybe John
as a
Bobniak
business
was like,
front.
I just don't want to come back for the face.
Why?
I'm done.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I
That's-
do also
man.
feel like people are judging this scene based on the scene where we see Peter Parker in a bloody lab coat with bold fucker and what did I call him that? Doc Ock. So we see him in that scene, but we don't see him, with the mask off, like say in a Spider-Man suit. We don't see how this new face takes into that yet. And I feel like that's a bit of a tough angle to judge from just yet. And I feel like it's a bit of a weird one to showcase. I feel like you want to be showcasing one where we see him as Spider-Man, like with the mask off.
I can't wait to only wear the Homecoming suit because it's the same.
Yeah.
So then in cutscenes when he takes off the
Yeah,
mask, it's like, oh look, it's Tom Holland too.
So and then like the Spider-Man 2, they're like, so we just thought Yuri's voice didn't suit this actor, so we've actually got Tom Holland in to voice
Oh my god.
or just someone that
I hope
sounds
the next
super
one
similar
just-
to Tom Holland.
I hope the next one just looks like Andrew Garfield. That'd be great. They just
that
change
would
it
be so
every
good.
single time. And then they're just like, fuck it, we'll go Tobey Maguire next, why not?
Yeah.
Shake it up a bit every time next week.
I
That'd be
think the
great.
people are upset and they say, well, I'm connected to that face. I mean, it's a bit, I kind of get it, but it's the same voice, so I don't know. But I feel like once they replay the game, they'll be like, okay.
Yeah, no. Once
Here
it'll
we go.
grow on you once you're playing the game. Once it feels a bit more normal. And like I said, we haven't
waited out.
We haven't seen this new face as Spider-Man,
Yes.
really, yet, have we?
Yeah.
We're-
And it's
we're-
got the thing with this as well is that it's Yuri's mocap and it's Yuri's voice. It's the exact same. They haven't re-mocapped anything. It's Yuri doing exactly the same as he would have done. They've just put a new face on it. So you're
Yeah.
going to see all of it. Like the most embarrassing thing I saw that someone put on Discord, and I was like, I really want to say something, but I also don't. Was Evan Falaka, that Spider-Man YouTuber, tweeted out about the whole thing. He's not too happy about it, but he tweeted out saying that the original faces like John's mannerisms and facial movements and all that stuff was like what made it Spider-Man, but like he didn't do any of that. It was all Yuri. Like it's Yuri mocaps it. They just put the face on top. So like that's kind of embarrassing because the original actor, there was nothing of his mannerisms were even in the game. So it's just a bit of a weird one. But but I think people will get on with it better once you see it because it's going to be the same. Like it's going to move the same. He's going to look, his facial expressions, his mannerisms will all be exactly the same as they were because it's all still Yuri's mocap. We've just got a different face over the top of that. So I think once we see it in action, we'll probably engage with it, and it looks way more realistic as well. By the way, is another thing.
I guess until then, people have the right to be skeptical. But I feel like when we actually do play it on PS5 and we see this integrated into the actual game as the full game, people will be like, you know what, fair enough. Yeah, no. And then, as Tyler said, then it's consistency going forward. They can then take the technology and make it more realistic in that sense and go from there in the sequels or in Miles Morales and stuff like that. And so and so when you think about it, if that other face really was holding them back and, they say, oh, this face is, we can't really mocap this character to this face. There's just something that doesn't click. But with this other face, it works perfectly. That gives them more agency to move around an obstacle, if you will, going forward. Of what if that face just doesn't work with Yuri Lowenthal too well. Like, it did work for, the standards of the PlayStation 4 and for what they were doing with the first game, but what they want to do going forward, what if they do need that openness that are more, that the face that they've gone with now can provide that the other one can't. And also, I will say this, the new face has a better trim, okay? A better fucking trim.
Yeah,
I know I can't judge at the moment because I need a trim myself. But what the fuck was going on with that trim?
I don't know. I think there's more uniqueness. He just kind of looks like any bloke from down the pub now, and I just think there's no identity there. I don't know. I feel like I could walk into town now and I'd see 10 of him. I just feel like there's no identity there, and it's I don't know. Well,
once we see that in action,
I just think it's he looks like fucking Tom Holland, and that's why they've done it. And I think you think he's not recognizable, and all the mainstream audience is going to see is, oh, that's Tom Holland in a game. Let's buy that.
That's terrible. I hate it.
I guess
hate
so.
it so much.
It wouldn't. I don't think it would hurt to make him look a little bit, not too much older, but a bit more.
Like cover his
Asian
eyes
sense.
and just look at his bottom half of his face. I'm telling you,
I'm gonna have a look
looks,
now.
I'm gonna have to find a
it
picture
is
of him and do
Tom
this.
Holland's bottom half of his face.
Let me have a look. New Peter Parker. Cover his eyes, you said?
Just cover,
Cover his
so you
eyes.
can see his nose.
Oh
down.
fuck!
Cover
Oh
the top half of his
god!
face.
Oh no!
Cover the top half of his face. I'm telling you, it's exactly Tom Holland.
Oh Christ, man!
Do it,
You can't do the same
It
with
does
that
look
guy.
like
though.
him, doesn't it? It really
Oh
does.
Christ!
James. And you're telling me that's just a coincidence? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know, man. Where's the original? Who is this guy?
Chance. Not a chance. Not a
Ben
chance.
Jordan.
This is a coincidence, man.
Is the new guy? What does he look like? Ben Jordan. Ah, he does look like him, to be fair.
But that's why they picked him, James. That's why they.
The thing is, though, he doesn't look like Tom Holland.
Yeah.
But the Spider-Man does look like Tom Holland.
So you mean they edited him to make him look more like Tom Holland in the game? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Oh wow! This is a real conspiracy theory. Ah, blimey.
James, I just don't understand how you can't accept this. This is so obvious.
Because that's insane to me.
it's pretty uncanny.
It's not insane at all. It makes perfect business sense.
It is. It is.
I think that makes no sense at all. I cannot imagine a bunch of people sitting in a room and they go, let's change how our main character looks to look like Tom Holland. And everyone went, fucking brilliant.
Except
Like,
you're
what?
someone that you in particular have a very different perspective to a business mind does. You have a very grounded, purist perspective on almost everything you like.
Fucker.
You're also stubborn, and you're also stubborn on that for sure. Whereas I'm telling you, you walk in these businesses, they don't give a shit about the integrity because they don't play games. It's their job to make marketing decisions on the games. And they don't play games like you play games, or even the people that play their Spider-Man games. They're not the biggest fans. Their job is to come into work 5 days a week, and they do what they can to hit goals and make money, and they've made this decision, oh, let's remaster, what can we do different? Let's market our Spider-Man to look like the most financially popular Spider-Man of all time, the current Spider-Man in Tom Holland. But he's not the same, but he just happens to look similar. That's how they're all sitting there jerking themselves off to it. They're laughing. They're laughing their way to the bank on this one. There's no doubt
That's
about it.
insane, though. That sounds like... How could you
doesn't
do that
sound
out of
insane to me at
touch,
all.
though?
It doesn't
If you
sound
think
insane
about
to me
it.
at all.
If you think about it, the reason why it does sound insane to say, James, is because you know the distinction between the games and the films. You know that they don't happen in the same continuity. They don't happen in the same universe. They're different stories with different takes on the same characters. But to a lot of consumers, they won't have that distinction. A lot of consumers will go, "Oh, Spider-Man game, let's give it a go." You know,
it's a kids,
and that's all I think.
It's going to be for kids. Kids will buy this,
Exactly.
and their parents will buy it for them, and their parents will see the same looking character as the one in the movies, and they're just going to think, oh, it's like the movies. My son loves Avengers. My son loves the new Spider-Man movies, and they'll just get the game for their kid. They'll buy a console, and oh, the Spider-Man, that's not like violent. That's not COD. My 8-year-old or
It's
10-year-old
not
child not
violent.
going to buy this. Well, they'll just think that, you know what I mean? They're not going to think, I'm buying my kid Grand Theft Auto like some parents do. They're like, oh, I'll get a console. They can play Spider-Man, and it's like the movie.
Yeah, no.
I just can't believe like people would think like that.
I can't believe that you can't.
I
think
can't.
I can't believe that you don't see this.
Yeah,
This is
I
how
can't
people.
believe that a company would sit there and like just genuinely think that's not mad. Like that's not like
I don't
a
think
crazy
it's mad.
thing to do.
I don't think it's crazy.
I think
makes
it's
perfect
more of
sense.
a-
I
I
would
think
honestly do the same thing.
I think,
I would do the
yeah,
exact
you know, if someone said we could cash in on some serious stacks of dosh here, I'd be like, you know what, fuck it, I don't need integrity.
If
I'm off.
if tomorrow you hired me in Insomniac and asked me, Tyler, you get the final call, I would make the call to make him look like Tom Holland.
That's
Because
insane, man.
my job would be
Why?
I'm thinking, okay, do you want to know how much bonus money I'll get when the next game sells 50% more copies than the first game did?
But you'd still be making a ton of money anyway. Why does it
No,
matter?
but no,
Yeah,
but, no,
but
because
more.
I want more, James. You not
Exactly.
fucking
Fuck
understand
you.
that.
You're just
You don't get it.
unambitious.
But
That's
this is the thing, man. You don't think like that. That's why, first of all, you're never gonna run a gaming business. Like it's
No,
just not
nor
gonna
do
happen.
I want to.
And that's why when we run, as always, you let me make these calls because we'll make.
Oh
this
no,
money.
no, definitely not. Nah. Because our audience is too smart. They're too smart for that. They can't be tricked.
No, well, first of all, our audience now is smart. They're the hardcores. Wait till we have all the masses, and then the sheep come in, and we flock them in.
Yeah, nah, I'm not having it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to take the higher position.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'm not having you replacing me with Tom Holland. Jared was enough.
Yeah. Now here's the thing: you've already signed the contract. I have my lawyers draw it up, so you don't get a choice.
Shit! I'm gonna come to the office one day to record a podcast, and Tom Holland's gonna be sitting in my chair, and I'll be like, "Fuck's sake, man! I told you no."
James is in the contract. And
Every contract ever.
Yeah,
Tom Holland just
British.
Replaces you at some point.
He's British, so it's fine. It's good enough.
No one will be able to tell. We're both like the same height, you know.
Yeah, true.
Short British guy.
If you grew your hair out a bit longer and then spiked it right up, maybe, yeah. Why not?
That's what we're gonna do.
All
right.
Anyway,
I guess so.
Yeah, that's why they did it. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, no, I understand why they did it. Of course, like it's a fair business move. I guess there is some form of insanity in the concept of from the gamer's perspective, and I feel like that in the end of the day, when you're a businessman, you know someone's going to make you a stack of money. You don't care whether or not it's a sane move. If you know there's a money bag at the end, who fucking cares, you know? Like, not us.
I mean, I get that, but I also hate it.
Yeah, you might hate it, but you'll still play it.
But it's the truth. It's the truth.
I can't believe it until I
Speaking of working at gaming companies, the White Knight and hero of the gaming industry, Jason Schrieier, has once again come out to condemn crunch time workloads at gaming companies.
That is pretty epic of him, to be honest.
CD Projekt Red, developers of Cyberpunk 2077.
He loves going at companies who shoot back, doesn't he? Well, I don't know if CD Projekt Red have yet, but he does love going at these companies, doesn't he?
He does.
Indeed.
It's his favorite thing. He was hired by Bloomberg specifically to work on these types of stories.
So he loves it. Didn't he go at Naughty Dog and then Naughty Dog just went fuck off?
Yeah.
And millions.
And he went at Rockstar as well, didn't he? Before Red Dead Redemption 2 dropped.
He did indeed.
He went at Rockstar, and then people at Rockstar went fuck off.
Yeah, because he tries to find these people that'll talk. Like he's like, let's find someone who will say something bad about the company, then I can write about it. And then the company will come back and be like, well, this is actually what happened. These are actual people that work for us. This is what they have to say. And then Jason Schreier's like, no, this one person said you bad, so you bad. And it's absolutely ridiculous anyway.
Now, there is a flip side to it all, which I'm sure we'll get to eventually. But what's he exactly been saying about crunch times with Cyberpunk then?
Well, my issue here is, and I can understand why people could be annoyed. Also, I think it's just fucking dumb. There's so many sides to this, but the main issue I think a lot of people are coming to is that Cyberpunk or CD Projekt Red said we're not going to have a crunch with this development. We don't want to blah blah blah, and it's come to it and it's happened. And so Jason Schreier's like, they said they wouldn't, and now they are, and this is what's happening. Blah blah blah.
I guess,
which is fair, I suppose, in a sense.
I guess it's fair. You said you weren't going to crunch, and then you had to crunch, I think sometimes though they had to weigh it up and go, we said we weren't, but I think we do have to, and it's going to have to happen. If there's one thing,
in the article, like one of the people he's interviewing, one of the main developers, said like they didn't want to do crunch, like they didn't, but they've exhausted all other means. Like they've tried their best, but
they can't delay the game again. No,
this is where they're at, and they're getting paid for overtime, and
so they aren't just being crunched on regular hours.
Yeah, they're getting paid for their overtime, and they're going to get a big ass bonus at the end of it all, and they get to make one of the greatest games of a generation. What an honor in the video games industry. But Jason Schreier, the White Knight, and I've got questions about this, and this is my conspiracy brain is on right now. My conspiracy brain has been on since we talked about the Spider-Man thing. Here's my conspiracy brain, and I got a question to you both. Why in the world has Bloomberg specifically hired Jason Schreier to, as he said, write stories about development crunch. What does Bloomberg have to gain from the video game industry changing and being negatively looked at in this light with crunch work? What are they distracting us from, ladies and gentlemen? That's the question here. What else are they distracting us
question.
from?
What are they
Oh,
doing?
they're part of the Mafia shit.
Are they trying to make us think about this stuff? Meanwhile, they're covering up other video game industry indiscretions, like, sexism, racism, sexual assault, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, we've got big issues in the video game industry. I don't think crunch time is our biggest, most prominent concern right now.
No, of course.
But Bloomberg seems to think so, and so does Jason Schrieier, and I got some fucking questions as why that is.
Did any
what do they gain from this?
Did anyone who spoke to Jason Schrieier say outright, "I'm not happy about doing crunch"? Like, did anyone go, "I'm not happy about this"? Like, did anyone say that to him?
I don't know.
I haven't read too far into it. I was wondering if any of you two knew. Like,
from
because
what
if someone's not happy about it and they work and they're doing the crunch, then I think it's fair enough that they, but in the end of the day, I guess some industries are just wired for the, in the end of the day, it will happen. Like, there will come a time where you have to put your back fully into it. And
I think that's part of the industry. It's part of what it is, and people will go, "Well, the industry shouldn't be built like that." But it's like, it's one of the hardest working industries out there. Like, if you want to be working for CD Projekt Red or Naughty Dog or Rockstar, you've got to be the best of the best at what you do. And people can't be the best of the best at what they do unless you're under pressure while doing it. You don't think like these professional athletes become professional athletes by, exercising once a month because it's too hard. There's too much hard work. When you're working at the top of your game, exactly. You've got to be doing this every day. You're working overtime. You're putting everything into this. You're sacrificing a lot of things in your personal life. That's just how it is when you're working at the top of any industry. And
do you think Michael Jordan had rest days? Do you think LeBron James takes days off work? Like, do you think that happens? Does Ronaldo? Does fucking Israel Adesanya, do they take fucking days off? They don't take fucking days off. They're professional athletes. They've got to do it to be the best in the best. The best in the world to be a part of greatness. And Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be known as an incredible game, and it's going to make amazing money, and these developers are going to get paid for it. They're not working for free. They get named and a part of gaming history, and they get paid to do so. They get paid for the work. And from at least the knowledge that we have of how much they're getting paid, especially what they predict bonuses to be and how much they're sharing with their 1,070 odd employees, to me it sounds like fair pay for fair work. And if you don't like to work that much, that's fine. Work somewhere else.
I guess,
maybe you just got into the wrong industry there,
or you're working for too big a studio, too big a project. Go work for an indie developer. I'm sure that pays really well.
Maybe they should use Jason Schreier's face as Spider-Man.
I'd love that. Please.
He's such a hero. Yeah, dude.
I want to see that. Someone deep fake it so that when Spider-Man walks out in that little reveal clip, it's actually Jason Schreier and he's there and he's fighting for the developers at CD Projekt Red because he cares about them.
It's not the most berating article that Jason Schreier's written. In fairness, he just, they say in the article about the expected sum of bonus money that $520 million that'll be shared between the 1,079 employees. So that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
You're looking at $50,000 a person, assuming it's shared evenly amongst everyone. Which
didn't they say something like there was a certain percentage or something? Like they'd each get a percentage.
Yeah, well, I'd imagine it also counts on as well the hours you work as well, because I'm sure there's part-time employees CJ Projekt Red. I'm sure there are part-time employees depending on the roles, and I'm sure those part-time employees are aren't probably getting the same bonus money that someone that's putting 100 hours a fortnight a weekend, which is ridiculous. I don't believe anyone is anyway. That's so stupid and unrealistic at all anyway. But someone's putting in 60, 80 hours a week plus, give them a bigger bonus of that for sure.
So you're saying that the sum of bonus to be spread between 1,000 employees is over 500 mil?
$520 million, yeah.
Mate, I'd fucking sleep at work.
Mate.
I wouldn't sleep. Fuck that. I wouldn't even sleep. I'd get it done.
Yeah. But then the game comes out, and then guess what? Back to normal hours, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's all good. You're getting all that money. Your name is on the credits. You can put that on your resume. Like, oh, look at this. I worked on fucking Cyberpunk 2077. That's huge. You'd be employed anywhere. It's
when Jason gets an
you
email
get so
from
much
an employee of a game company saying we're doing crunch, he jerks off so hard.
He locks his office door. He's like, tells his wife, "Don't come in."
I'm yet to be blocked on Twitter by Jason Schrieier, and I feel like I haven't accomplished enough in my life.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Of all people, the cursed one. I'm
That's wild.
Nothing ever goes too badly for me. I'm just like a cockroach. You just can't kill me. I find another way to annoy you.
It's like a cockroach that everyone just really likes, though. They just don't know. They have no idea. They're like, you're just like a dog. You're just like a pet dog, but really you're a cockroach. That's what it comes.
I'm a lovely cockroach.
I don't know why I'm trying to call my friend a cockroach. You said it, not me.
Yeah, no, this is my fault. No, I think no, I don't understand why everyone really likes me. Everyone has a right to hate my guts, and yet, oh god, here I am. I'm doing just fine. I think it's because I'll say what I have to, and then I'll be like, you do you, and leave people to it. But also because I'm just who wouldn't love me? I mean, I'm a fucking narcissist. No,
It do be that way.
Jesus Christ.
I'm the king of this manipulation game.
I guess moving on from Jason Schrieier and CD Projekt Red, right as the last episode of the As Always podcast dropped, news came out. We'd already obviously pre-recorded the show. Xbox have bought Bethesda.
Yeah.
Insane news. James, you want to sort of go over that, of what that is for people that may not know, and then we'll get some thoughts on that.
For sure. Recently Xbox, Microsoft have acquired all of the Bethesda studios, so like everything under the ZeniMax umbrella or whatever it is.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so you've got all of these different development teams and studios and stuff. Obviously, one of the big ones being, Bethesda Game Studios that have made Fallout, Elder Scrolls, working on Starfield. So that's big. The main, obviously, takeaway from this that we know so far exactly what they're doing is it's good that their games are going to be on Game Pass. So day one, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be on Game Pass day one, which is huge. That stuff is huge. But what it also means is Xbox can, if they want to, make these games exclusives to Xbox, which, I mean, obviously would be huge for them if they'd be console sellers. At the same time, I think the public eye, the public's opinion of Microsoft would change drastically if they just acquired Elder Scrolls and went, PlayStation, you're not having it. It's ours. It's Xbox's. But they could do it. So I mean, what do you think? I don't know whether they're gonna do that, but
they acquired ZeniMax for what? Well, what was it? 7.5 billion.
Yeah, 7.5.
That is a massive number. I don't even think Disney bought Star Wars for that much, did they?
I have no idea how much Disney bought Star Wars for, to be honest. Was it 12 billion?
No, I think it was maybe 4. I don't know. It was something. It was around a similar number. Either way, the point is it's fucking huge. So it's a huge acquisition. Billion, It's huge news, and you're right. It's the biggest takeaway. The only thing that's been mentioned is that the games are coming to Game Pass. Now, obviously, Microsoft now hold a bit of a control on what happens with Bethesda games like the Elder Scrolls 6, like Starfield, like all the other ones that people care about for some reason. So you get this position where Microsoft could make them exclusive, but based on what's been said, I don't think they will. I think what they're trying to do is they're realizing that Xbox is falling behind a little bit here, and I think it's going to take more than acquiring a company that makes, for the most part, games that would have been okay 20 years ago is going to save them necessarily. But they do make games that sell regardless. So instead of making it exclusive and turning people off getting them all together, what they're making sure they have is making sure they have basically a hook on the ship before it sails. So they want to make sure that before PlayStation properly pulls ahead and shits on their I guess couch, if you will, is they want to make sure that they're going with it. They want to make sure that they're being dragged behind it. So I don't think it's going to become exclusive. No, I think it might work out as an incentive to buy Xboxes. But if that fails, now they've got now now they've got games being published on the competition as well. So then they're capitalizing on both. So there's
the Xbox's business strategy seems to be their main priority is Game Pass over their console.
Yeah.
So
That
what
is
was the
also true.
purpose of buying Bethesda? It appears to be to not sell Xboxes, it's to sell Game Pass. Because what have they been talking about? They've been talking about Game Pass.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, their business model is
work out
becoming
more for
clearer
PC.
and clearer. It's that the Xbox isn't their priority. It was a part of. I mean, it's been this way for a long time. This isn't actually new. Even when Game Pass was introduced, they're moving all their exclusives to Windows 10. Like already, they care less about their console in Xbox.
I think it's becoming more
make
PC Xbox. Yeah.
It's about the cross-platform. It's about their business model is to capitalize on the largest audience possible, and Game Pass on both Windows and Xbox brings a broad audience for that. So getting as many games on that service is how they're gonna look to build their business model of the future. It's an interesting way of doing it, but the thing I like about it is that it gives you a difference to Sony. It's like Sony can't do a Game Pass model. They're trying to do something a bit similar, but they can't put a brand new God of War 2 or 5, whatever you call it, or they can't put a Rise of Forbidden West out for $15 a month straight away. They can't do it. That's not their model. Their focus is on selling consoles and selling big games for a large sum of money, and then selling a lot of them. And that works for them. And with that, you get games at a certain level of which Sony's been delivering, which is, to me, the best games of our generation. But that's great that they do that. Meanwhile, for other certain types of consumers that want something different, that are more like, I want lots of games, I'll play from a little bit, I like variety, I like quick action, I don't necessarily need to be playing a 20, 30 hour storyline, I just want to jump in games whenever I want. Like someone consuming Netflix, they watch an episode of something or try something out, they're not sure what they want to play, well, they've got all these options. That's what Xbox are delivering, or at least Microsoft, are delivering, whether you have a PC that plays games or you have an Xbox. They're giving you a service that is delivering something different to Sony, which is lots of choice, quick action, quick play, where you don't have to finish a game. It doesn't matter. You didn't spend $100 on a game. You're buying the service. Let's try a bunch of games out, and it's just for a different type of consumer. And if anything, it's for actually a broader audience of a consumer on the mainstream as well. So it's actually a business model that makes sense. And no, as a fan of Xbox's past, I don't like it necessarily, but it's what it is, and it's a smart move, and it's variety. So Sony and Xbox are no longer the same. It's not even a competition. It's they're going for different audiences now.
Yeah, there is that. And there's also that failsafe in the games will still release on PlayStation. I don't understand a world in which Bethesda Game Studios games have ever been optimized for PlayStation, but they'll release on it anyway. So they'll make sales on, that eventually as well. So there is that. So they're just covering the bases on that front. I don't think they're trying to compete with so much anymore. It's just trying to embrace their position in, the gaming industry, if you will. Like they're trying to embrace a position that goes beyond just a console, because obviously they can make games for PC, they can publish games wherever, and get money from that. And Microsoft will. They're not exactly gonna collapse over the failure. If their console doesn't do too well specifically, because they're not trying to focus on it. There's always that. So there's always that as well, where they they're just setting themselves up really to be beyond their console. And if you think about it as well, I forgot where I was going with this. Give me a minute. If you bugger, no, I know exactly where I was going. It's just slipped from my head. When you have something on the top on the tip of your tongue, you're about to say it, and then it goes. And I'm saying this one. I could be thinking about what it was. What I'm trying to say is, from what's been said anyway by people at Bethesda, is that I don't think they want it to be exclusive. They don't want it to be a exclusivity, and I don't think Microsoft do either. I think they said something along the lines of
probably part of the deal too.
Yeah, we want these games to be enjoyed regardless of what you play on. So I think that it will. The games will still come to PlayStation, but I mean, if you buy like the Elder Scrolls 6 on PlayStation, then there's something not really clicking up there, because what do you expect? It's gonna be fucked.
Yeah, they're just adding the that benefit of like the incentive. It's like, yeah, I mean, you still can. You have the accessibility as a PlayStation 5 only owner to play The Elder Scrolls 6. But, I mean, you can pay $100 for it if you want, or you can pay $15 for it.
Yeah.
That's up to you. Just have a PC or a Xbox. Have Game Pass. And do you know what else you get with Game Pass? All these other games. And you can just switch between. You don't have to finish them, just play whatever.
It's a good deal, isn't it? When you think about it, with all the games that they have.
For the mainstream consumer that doesn't sit down and play a lot of games, I have a housemate that upstairs, Jared. He can't sit and play a game for long. He doesn't have the time. Like he's like, I tried Red Dead Redemption 2. I got 2 hours in and just stopped and never played it again. Not because it's not good, but because he's like, it's too slow for me. I need something quicker. I just want to try things and play new games. Game Pass is perfect for someone like that. They just every week or so they have a couple of hours. They don't have time to invest in these long stories that you need to really be playing every couple of days for a few hours. Just throw it in there. Let's have a look at what games are on Game Pass. Oh, look, that actually looks pretty cool. Download that. Let's play that. Today, and then never play it again. But you've got hundreds of games to choose from. It's just a totally different model that has its own audience for it.
And
it's
I think
great
the thing
for
is
them.
as well. When you talk about exclusivity, they've said they're going to tackle it on a case-by-case basis. That's what Phil Spencer said. So I think what that means is, you know, your Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Starfield, those big Bethesda Game Studios games, I'd assume they're going to come to all platforms as they normally would. But then you've got other studios like the studio that makes Dishonored or fucking Prey or whatever else you've got. I feel like Xbox will probably use those for exclusives. They'll probably be like, well, the studio that made Dishonored, let's have you make Xbox exclusive games, and things like that. So, you know, there's that other sort of section to it where they have ended up, you know, selling Game Pass through these big titles that are still going to come to PlayStation, but they're still going to sell Game Pass. But then on top of that, you've got these exclusives from well-known studios as well, and I think that'll work in their favor too. So there's a lot of Xbox are doing here. I don't think at all this is meant to, because a lot of people commented on my PlayStation video saying, "Oh, you didn't wait until Xbox bought Bethesda." I'm like, it would not change my mind at all. Like,
no,
Sony is still doing what I want, so it doesn't change anything. Like,
and besides,
Bethesda don't make great games anymore in my mind, so it just doesn't change anything for me. But for Xbox, I mean, it probably does help.
I look at Fallout 76 and think if they were going the exclusivity route, then they've just inherited a problem and paid $7.5 billion for it.
Oh, man. I would pay $7.5 billion for Fallout 76.
You know what? So would I, just so that I could, you know, issue a callback on every single copy ever, and then make a massive fire and be rid of that game for good. Oh, God, that is one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. But that is how bad.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Imagine making Fallout 76 and then Microsoft buys you for $7.5 billion.
ZeniMax must be going.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
ZeniMax must be going, fucking idiots. Right, lovely. But now
we'll take your fucking money and we'll make Fallout 77.
Oh no, not again.
And it'll be Xbox exclusive.
Oh God.
Wow. Give people a reason to stay away from the Xbox. Oh, it's just absolutely mental. $7.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That is fuck it money. That is some serious fuck it.
I do think with the whole console war thing, it's interesting the way Xbox are going, because it does almost feel like less of a, like, there doesn't seem like a war or any sort of competition. Like, Xbox isn't trying to compete with PlayStation, almost the same way Nintendo isn't competing anymore. It's like Nintendo carved out their own audience, and it's like Xbox are doing the same, but obviously on a larger scale, because Xbox are going for the you know, mainstream audience of people that play games but aren't, you know, the same as what the Sony people would play. So it's like everyone's got their own audience now that they're really doubling down on, and that's interesting to see. But I also think that it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, because competition is always what makes, you know, some of the best products. So if you've not got anyone competing, what's going to happen to each of these things? But then you look at Nintendo, no one's really competing with Nintendo, and they're nailing it for their audience. So there's room enough in the scene for both Sony and Microsoft. But you know, they have for a long time just, you know, they have competed, haven't they? And so I think you'll see a lot more of people sort of kicking off. But the console war itself, when you think about it, until
until more or less with the bloody price announcements, like we're gonna one up you, no, we're gonna one up you, and they became more interested in one upping each other than they were actually being transparent with the consumers they were going to sell the products to. But beyond that, most of the console war has been fueled by people, by toxic little kids in chat rooms and on Twitter and all over the place going, my console's better. And
one piece of plastic is the best.
Just sit in the corner and pick your fucking nose and shut the fuck up. And yeah, no. So until recently, it's been other people measuring their cocks for them, if you know what I mean. And
yeah,
and then they went, and then with this marketing campaign for both consoles so far has been. I mean, obviously there have been points where like, oh yeah, that's pretty nice, that's pretty neat. But for the most part, it's been like, well, okay, great. Now, what does it cost, and when can we acquire one? And it took them ages to eventually give us a price tag, and I think they did cut it pretty close to the point where it's like, well, you didn't allow people too much time to prepare. And as a result, you've now got a lot of scalpers and things who have purchased pre-orders and now selling them for like double, triple, sometimes 10 times the initial price. And so I feel like the entire marketing of both the consoles in trying to compete with one another, well, I think it's been mostly in that little competition there. They sort of forgot that they're trying to make a consumer product, and it was so funny to watch.
It has been amusing, yeah. It's been a really weird
it has
lead up to the console announcements and stuff.
It's the biggest dick measuring competition in gaming history, is what it was. It was pretty fucking massive.
Which
it's been really weird.
It's been weird, especially because, like we've talked about, they're not really even going for the same thing anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're not going the same approach in terms of releasing games. So
why are we trying to one-up each other with the price?
It's just to win that initial release, which, I mean, Xbox had no chance, but honestly, they've done better than I probably expected them to do.
Yeah.
They had a shit start early in the year, but they've made a couple of good moves in the last month or so, but that Bethesda timing was good. Game Pass promotion has been really good. But then they had disasters like Halo. That was a shit show. The name of the console sucks.
Can they just fucking name their consoles properly?
It's insane.
Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. There's so much confusion about that. So many people going out their way to buy Xbox One X and Xbox One S's. Is there a One S? There is, isn't there? People going out. People going out of their way to buy to think they have to rush to buy them instead of the next generation because they're named so terribly.
Dumb.
Here's the thing about PlayStation that this is its advantage. It didn't snooker itself by naming its second console the PlayStation 360. No, it's the PlayStation. It's the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, and I reckon they'll keep up with that. The next one will be if it goes that way, I know when it gets above 5, numbering things becomes a bit like, it starts to hurt your head. But PlayStation 6, PlayStation 7, they'll just keep going.
Yeah, but iPhone bloody 10s and 11s, they'll keep going.
Yeah, but iPhone also skipped the iPhone 9. It doesn't exist. They just went, fuck it, the iPhone 10 in Roman numerals.
Yeah, that bothers me. And then they just said, it's 11 now, we're back to normal numbers.
Forget
about
that.
Forget about the Roman numerals.
Yeah,
it's
just the normal 11 now.
Yeah, that was so annoying. But
when they get to the iPhone 69, can they put it back into Roman numerals? So it's iPhone LXIX, please.
Yeah.
That's funny, right? Because you'd think at some point these companies would have to change because they're going to be going for ages. They're going to be making these products.
Yeah.
Either the iPhone's going to die or they eventually are going to make an iPhone 69. Like that's such a weird concept to me. Like, is Apple going to die before that point?
I wouldn't worry about it because we will be dead.
I don't know.
I don't want to be dead.
IPhone
69 happens.
They release a numbered phone every 2 years, don't they? So it won't be in 69 years. It'll be in double that.
It'll be in 100. It'll be 128. No, 100.
That means I'll never see it. I'll never see the iPhone 69. That is actually really sad.
That's a shame. That's a crying shame.
Oh, I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about it.
God. To move on. I've got another controversial topic for you guys.
We love them.
Okay.
So, the news came out. IGN reported that through an internal survey at Ubisoft...
Oh, yeah, here we go.
1 in 4 employees at Ubisoft have seen or experienced misconduct.
How many employees does Ubisoft
bullying, abuse, harassment.
I think this was Kotaku, wasn't it?
Was it
not
Kotaku?
Okay.
There was an IGN
that-
article.
Is that the blanket
Yeah, right.
company? Like that is the entire company that's been
Ubisoft,
surveyed there.
Ubisoft, and that's all over the world. It's a massive international company. There's
And you know how
studios
many
all
employees
over the
they
world.
have, according to Google. And I don't know if this probably won't be 100%
Bro science,
accurate.
bro science.
But 18,045 employees.
Right,
Out of those
yeah, but-
18,045 employees, you're telling me that hang on, that bloody, I don't know, the best part of 4,000 to 5,000 of them have experienced or witnessed or heard about misconduct within the company.
Now,
That
here's the thing, though, as well. How many people did the survey? But yeah, the point of those surveys is to give us a gauge of the company overall.
You would have thought that maybe yeah, if you take that as like an average, then that's a
We're
worst
talking
case
thousands.
scenario.
We're talking
Thousands
of
current employees. You're not talking about the ones that left due to this shit as well.
No, and a lot of people have left Ubisoft. I'd like to say
Yes.
that probably the entire employee roster has changed in the past, decade or so.
Yeah.
At this point. Yeah, no.
Oh yeah,
Blimey.
it's fucking rough.
That is a
and
lot
I think it
of
goes to
people.
show that I mean, it's worse than I thought, and I thought the worst because I've been giving them so much shit. I've been giving them so much fucking pressure because I want to see change, and it goes to show it's even that shocked me, and I'm like, wow, that's even more than I expected, and I thought the worst. So that's that's insane, and I think it goes to show we need to keep this fucking pressure up because we need to see major change because that is Jesus Christ, I just don't even know where to go with it.
Yeah, like, do we all go, we're not playing Valhalla, fuck them. We're not playing Watch Dogs, we're not playing any Ubisoft game until there's change, or...
I'll happily
then
not play Watch
hurting-
Dogs.
Is that then hurting the good people that are working for this
that's
company?
the problem with
who's,
doing a
when, at
boycott.
what point, who pays for it? Because at the end of the day, Eve Guillemot needs to fucking go. Hey, Eve,
Yeah, it needs to.
fuck you, man. You gotta go. He's gotta go. Step down, be
Gotta get out of here.
fired. Get fucked. This dude needs to get fucked because you're going to tell me he doesn't understand or know, or he didn't father that sort of culture within the company he's been CEO of for fucking years and years and years. Fuck this guy. Absolutely fuck this guy. He is a massive part of this problem. You've got to take responsibility for that. You have to. As the CEO, for this to happen, you can't wash your hands of this and be like, I didn't know.
Like, we changed.
Especially
but
not
if
if
you didn't know,
25% of your employees and
you
you've got
allowed that
tens
to
of
happen.
thousands have experienced
It's
or
insane.
witnessed.
Even let's pretend Eve had zero clue any of this ever happened.
That just makes him
You
not
are the most
particularly
incompetent leader of
Yeah.
all time, and you've got to
Yeah.
go too. Either way,
you failed your
go.
employees and you failed your company. Either way, it doesn't matter. You need to fuck off. You need to fuck off.
He's the one I
What a
want.
cunt.
He's the one I want to go. He's the target to me. He's the one I want to go.
I would love to see it. I'd love to fucking see it. It's not going to happen, though. I just don't see it happening.
I disagree. I think it could
I
happen.
think he's too powerful. I think he's in too high of a position. I don't think there's any amount of shit we can do that will get rid of him. I just think he's too
Well,
safe.
if Brett could start yelling "fuck you, Eve" at E3s and not "I love you, Eve," that would be a great.
Yeah, that
start.
would be incredible.
And we'll start selling.
He'd get
"fuck you,
He'd get
Eve."
kicked out.
How about,
Can-
how
can-
about this? How about this, James? "Fuck you, Eve" merch on the As Always
Ooh.
Teespring, or something along
Ooh.
those lines. Some sort of Eve-related merch about like tell him to go fuck himself. Let's spread the movement.
Hashtag fuck you Eves.
Yeah.
Oh god, get that all over Twitter.
We are Vivendi.
I'm sure
We are
Eves,
actually
I'm sure
really-
Eves frequents the place. Maybe you'll get the message.
No,
Um,
he doesn't have Twitter. I've looked. I've checked.
You looked for him, did you?
He doesn't.
I wanted to.
Does he at
fucking
least have a
tweet
LinkedIn
abuse at
profile?
him. No, I'm sure he has a LinkedIn profile. Surely, let's fucking do that.
Let's find his
No,
LinkedIn
but
profile.
fuck this guy. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
fuck this guy. And this survey just shows more and more that he's incompetent. Either he's a piece of shit employer and CEO, or he's incompetent. Either way,
Why don't
it's
we
time
just bring
to go.
back the We Are Vivendi
Fuck
idea?
you. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's so many just disastrous things going on in that company this year. And I made a video talking about Valhalla's disaster of a marketing as well.
Yeah,
Because that's
that
been
was-
a shit show. Like, what an
That has
absolute
been
disaster that's been this year.
Yeah,
Like-
fucking hell. It's
Yeah.
like they forgot it's even coming out. It's so weird. Normally they're like, from
okay
like
with
May
forgetting.
towards the whole end of the year, they're just fully like, full marketing mode. We're seeing trailers, we're seeing clips, screenshots. There's loads of interviews, so much stuff coming out. I've been covering. I mean, I covered these games for such a long period of my life that I'm so used to how Assassin's Creed marketing goes, and this is nothing like that. It's so fucking
Bizarre.
weird.
Bizarre.
It's like, for a start, it feels like they've just forgot. They're like, we don't care about this game. It feels like a side game. It feels like it's just gonna sort of come out one day, and it's so weird. Like, there is no marketing behind it, and that's really strange to me.
It's mental. It's mental, and it's like
Yeah.
they had so much planned for Ashraf to do, and now that he's gone, there's like, oh, we don't know
Yeah,
what to do.
that
now.
will
we have no idea.
probably-
We're totally lost.
That will probably explain some of it. To be fair, like they obviously Ashraf Ismail, being the creative director, would have been the face of the marketing. He would have, and since then, to be fair, Darby McDevitt has been championing it, answering questions on Twitter, doing what he can, basically,
he's
to
doing
say,
his
we've done a
best,
story
isn't he?
here. And I've no doubts that the game's probably really, really, really solid. But the marketing has been all over the show because Ubisoft has not been able to get their act together in time and work out a contingency. And I feel like if you're going to market a game, sometimes you do need a contingency. What if this happens? What if that happens?
What if our creative
can we
director is out for sexual harassment?
Can we transcend individuality in the marketing and make this about the game, not about the person telling us about it?
Yeah.
And they didn't do
Exactly.
that. They rode on Ashraf Ismail because they knew that the fan response to
Would
to
be
Ashraf Ismail
overwhelmingly
as-
positive, which it was at first.
was positive. And then it came out that he was up to some
Bits and bobs.
shady
No good.
bit. He was up to no good. Yeah, he was abusing his responsibility at Ubisoft to manipulate women. Let's not beat around the bush here, like I was about to.
Agree.
Let's and
Fuck that
and
guy
so
too.
and so he had to go.
Yeah, fuck 'em.
And then they're like, well, now we're in shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, other than the fact also from the moment, even when he was there, hashtag like a Viking. That's been the go-to from the start of the campaign.
That bothers me
bothers me so much.
because
And
it's
it's
even
bothered
in
me
the trailers
since-
where it shows Assassin's Creed elements.
We'll get into this story trailer and we'll have our discussion on things we like about Assassin's Creed, which is pretty simply assassins, and that's about it, strangely enough. But we'll talk about that in the story trailer in a second. But to keep on this marketing thing, like this like a Viking stuff, like that's all they care about. This is no longer about us, and it has been about Assassin's for a long time. Even with Assassin's Creed Origins, like you're like the Origins of the Brotherhood, you sort of had that, but they beat around the bush and played around with that. And then Odyssey, it's like, no, we're just you were a Spartan. You're a magical fantasy Spartan. This is no longer
Hashtag like
a
a Spartan.
science fiction game. This is no longer
Hashtag like a Spartan.
this is no longer an historical sci-fi. This is a historical fantasy, which is so different, and it's shit. And Odyssey was a byproduct of that fantasy element, and it was shit. And it stood, and shat upon the whole past franchise. And now here we are again, which I have no doubt. Trust me, I've no doubt from what Darby said, from talking to Darby myself, that he has put in real deep corrective lore elements into this story. There is going to be some really exciting narrative things. He's got me excited.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah, no.
But I'm
him
talking
alone
about
as well.
marketing-wise. Who are they marketing this game to? It just makes no sense. It's almost like they're like, this is too Assassin's Creed. Let's not market this game very much.
I just don't understand, when did Assassins become not cool? Like, I don't understand, why is that not cool to people? Like,
I
they
don't
used
know.
to market Assassins because they were like, Assassins are fucking cool. Like, you've got hidden blades, you've got all these, like, crazy, they're so good with combat, they're fucking, like, masters of climbing anything. They're, like, hiding in the crowd. Like, that's fucking cool. That used to be really, really cool. Like, with the Brotherhood E3 trailer where you've got Ezio fucking going along, his assassin recruits taking people down, like, that was a really fucking cool trailer. And they marketed it like that because the protagonist and the concept was fucking awesome. But for some reason now, they're like, no, assassins aren't cool. They're dumb. No one likes them. Let's market Vikings. Like, I just don't
It
get
entered
it.
a bit of a gimmick phase around, I want to say, and I love Black Flag, but I'm going to say the gimmick phase began around them with the pirate concept, and it still held on to Assassin's Creed. You had some elements of that. You had a lot of elements in Black Flag, but the priority of
I think Black Flag is one of the best Assassin's Creed games.
No,
ever.
yeah, I'm not saying.
And for Assassins,
I'm not saying it's not. I don't disagree, but that's where they started to experiment with what if this character was something else as well. That's where that became a thing. And so they looked at that. It worked really well for Black Flag. It's a fantastic game and great Assassin's Creed game as well. Lots of elements there. But that's where the gimmick started to sort of flow in. It seeped in to begin with.
They didn't do that with the games that followed. That's the thing.
But I think it's because though they failed, right? Like Unity sold poorly, Syndicate sold poorly. I think that the higher ups looked at the track record wrongly and thought, well, look at how good Black Flag did. Why did that do well? Assassins are cool, pirates are. So let's do Spartans, let's do Vikings. People want to see these things. They don't want to see Assassins anymore. Failing to understand.
Let's do proto-ancient Egypt.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a proto-assassin.
I think they failed to understand the real reason that Unity, Syndicate, those games flopped is because it's just because of the fact that they weren't given the proper development time and they just weren't good games. That at the end of the day, and that's what it comes down to. The reason Black Flag was so good is because yes, it was a brilliant pirate game and you had that pirate fantasy and that was incredible. But on top of that and layered into that was Edward's incredible personal journey and the philosophical, assassin, Templar war, all of that stuff. When it comes down to it, the Creed, the First Civ, all of that stuff. It was all so much, it was part of the DNA of that game, whilst also giving you this pirate fantasy on top of that as well. It let you live in this historical period, but it was all about Edward. It was all about his journey, his redemption, and it was all about, what do the Assassins and Templars mean? What do they fight for? And Edward learning about that as an outsider. And it worked so incredibly well as an assassin story, and it's brilliantly told by Darby.
So when you think about it, the gimmick phase that we're in now with Assassin's Creed, Black Flag was sort of the marker for that. It didn't begin it necessarily, but Ubisoft misunderstood how they sold that game. They misunderstood how they presented that game that made people love it, and as a result, they thought, it must be the it must be the pirate aspect of Vikings in Black Flag. Are you mad? No, it must be the pirate aspect. Let's do Spartans. Let's do Vikings, and afterwards they're probably going to go, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do samurai, cowboys, Nazis. They're going to go through the lot. Hashtag like a Nazi.
Oh yeah, I want to see that one.
Oh god, I'd love to see how they market that one. Hashtag like a Viking, more like hashtag like fuck off.
Oh man, it's crazy.
But they go and then like a fucking bolt of lightning. I made this video and got very angry, and a lot of people got angry with me.
Oh, it's good. It did well.
It did fucking bits.
Nicely,
and so many people were talking about it all over social media too. Like it was a to do, and I appreciate the support on that. But then 2 days later, 48 hours later, Ubisoft dropped a story trailer.
Yeah,
with actual.
You wished it into existence, man.
I wished it into existence, but at the same time, still more Viking than Assassins in this trailer.
Yeah,
but there was actual Assassins in this trailer.
It's a nice trailer though.
What are our thoughts on the trailer, Ethan?
I don't dislike the entire concept. See, having Vikings there is always a present thing. Having your character rooted in a culture that exists in some way or another. Yeah, you can do that, and obviously it has the Assassin's Creed elements, of course. But it does get to a point where you think, how much of this trailer is about Assassins and how much is about Vikings? Or is it about Assassins that coexist with Vikings in this sort of in a story focused on them? And I don't want to go into Valhalla feeling like Assassins are a sideshow, but based on the marketing, that's how I feel. But based on what, Darby's probably said on Twitter and stuff like that, I'm not so sure. I think Darby McDevitt wants to bring the focus back to stuff that's Assassin's Creed, as opposed to hashtag like a Viking. I reckon every time he sees hashtag like a Viking somewhere, he probably slams his head against the desk. Like I reckon. Hashtag what you see? Hashtag like a Viking. No. He probably came up with it. He was probably the one that came up with it. Let's use one of them hashtag things, and then I went
hashtag like a man was too on the nose. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, what a goon. No. I feel like the marketing for Valhalla has focused primarily on that Viking aspect, and this new trailer, it showed us some Assassin's Creed elements. It introduced us to this hidden one character that we know his name, Basim, and He seems cool. He seems like he could be a fun character. And they released some key art, which sort of is like a little callback to like Revelations, in how you have the Ezio Altair key art, where Altair's behind him as like a guy.
Is amazing.
So
amazing.
good, man.
It's the best key art they've
Beautiful.
done since probably Revelations.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
I like
so
that.
nice.
I do like
That should be
that
the
key
front
art.
cover. Why is that not
It
the
should
cover
be.
art? I am
That
so
key art is
upset.
fantastic.
100%.
That's beautiful.
At the very least, I would get a.
And it shows the hidden blade.
to have that as the.
And
cover.
it shows the hidden blade on the inside of the wrist on Basim as well. I believe that's
Yeah.
Basim behind him. I think
Yeah.
it's meant
I'd
to be a
assume
little
so.
bit. But it shows it on the inside of the wrist, and it goes, you know what? That symbolism there, like we see
and try to
Eivor
make
as
him
a
look as
Viking.
much like Ezio as possible as well.
But yeah, no, but obviously he's got
Love
to
that.
sell. It's got to make money. Give him a bit.
Yeah.
Give him a bit of credit.
It should have
But
made
you
him
see-
look like Tom Holland.
or better yet, Jason Schrieier. So there you go.
yeah,
How dare you.
that'd be incredible.
How dare
So there you go. So you got Eivor with the hidden blade on the outside of the wrist, you know, above the fist there, and then you've got Basim as an assassin, a hidden one with it on the inside, and it makes me think: could there be a transition journey here? Could there be
I
that?
think that's
Oh,
what the point of the
definitely.
story is, right? Like,
Well, I've
the
got
end of
my-
the game. Eivor needs to be become that assassin and see. I mean, my theory from this trailer was that you go from, you know, he's family oriented. He's like the Vikings are. And he's got this adopted brother he has that, you know, he's his older
He's
brother.
gonna kill him. He's gonna kill him.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about
Definitely
that.
gonna kill him.
But-
Did you not see? Did you not see the scene in the trailer where Sigurd passes the hidden blade to Eivor, and you see the hidden one staring at each other like, "Fuck's sake, this guy's a cunt."
Yeah, and you just know that Avor's going to go the loss of identity as a Dane, as a Viking, because he's not, you know, fitting in. What he wants for his people and his family isn't the same as what the most Danes want. Most of these Vikings want when they go to England, and he's going to see both sides. He's going to see that the Saxons aren't all bad or all good, and neither are the Danes. But then you're going to move to this point where he's drawn towards, he sees the corruption in the background on both sides with the Order of the Ancients, and the hidden ones sort of make sense to him. I think it's not going to be like an Edward story necessarily where he brushes them off or something, because like, I'm
No,
too
I
good
think
for that.
he's going to grow to actually
I think
grow into them.
I think the reason he won't be in one at first is because he's like, no, I'm family first. He's like, I've just got to put my family first. It's not that I don't like what you're doing. He's like, family first. And also, I think it's not even going to be a choice at the start like it was for Edward. It'll be the hidden ones are sort of watching him to see if he proves himself. Like, he's not going to be asked to join. They're just going to be like, this guy sort of could fit in with us. And then they'll like later on sort of approach him as like, hey, look, you've seen us, you've heard a bit about us. We think, you know, you not in so many words, but they're going to try to bring him in, and he's going to just pull back just based on who he identifies as, which is Dane and family first. But when he starts to lose all those things, and his brother dies or he kills his brother, and the corruption behind the scenes, that's what's going to be like, hey, look, maybe you guys are the path I need to take. This is my destiny.
As well, I
Yeah.
think I wouldn't be surprised if they take a bit of a page out of the show Vikings, which, not to spoil anything, but the main protagonist, Ragnar Lothbrok, is a very curious character, not a lot like the rest of the Vikings, where a lot of them are, you know, they're dedicated to their gods, they hate the Christians, whereas Ragnar's a lot more open to it. He's like, he wants to learn about Christianity, and he wants to learn about their god and their culture, and I wouldn't be too surprised if Eivor is similar in the sense where, you know, he learns about the assassins and he doesn't brush them off like Edward did, like, nah, fuck you, you're fucking weird. He wants to learn about them, and maybe slowly, by learning about them, his people end up resenting him because they're like, no, we just believe in our gods, you can't believe in this other, you know, line of thought with the assassins. And like, maybe he is interested in, you know, talking to people like King Alfred, where he learns a bit more about Christianity, and he's very open to all these different cultures, which is a very assassin thing. It's all about, you know, freedom and the uniting of these cultures and all of those things. And I think, you know, if that's how he feels about things, and he is very curious and wants to learn, then he could eventually, you know, become friends with various different people around, you know, around England, and the assassins being one of them.
And you know what that is as well. And you know what that is as well. That is like the perfect position to create an assassin-like character. Like, it's always it's a period of change is usually where Assassin's Creed thrives, where something is changing, something's happening, something historical is going on in the background, but it's all those, and it's up to, you know, the character sees all sides, sees the folly of it all, and sort of instead of like picking to one side and sticking.
It's a perfect time period for this exact story you're talking about, Ethan.
And
it's the perfect time period for it.
And you've got to tell a story of openness, and and the main character as an assassin, as an assassin mindset, shall we say? Because let's be real, the assassin stuff will probably happen at the end. The mindset of the character in this time period being open, and that is probably what will draw Eivor to the Hidden Ones. We know that it will happen at some point, but the mindset is what will draw the Hidden Ones and Eivor together as and to become allies at first, and then eventually one and the same, if that makes sense.
I certainly hope it's not just at the end. I really would like to play as an assassin for a period of this game, even if it's like 3/4 in. For the love of God, give me the last sort of section of the game as an assassin.
Just
we'll
take whatever victory we can get, Ubisoft.
I'm pretty sure you could find footage of me on a podcast saying, if this next Assassin's Creed game, I'm not playing as an assassin from the moment the game starts, I'm going to break the fucking disc and my console.
Yeah, you did say that.
I did say that. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to backtrack.
What if though the prologue of this game you play as an assassin for like the first 5 minutes before you play as Eivor? Similar to how you play as Leonidas at the beginning of Odyssey, and you play as bloody Templar bloke at the beginning of Unity.
Templar bloke.
They love doing that.
We love unnamed Templar bloke.
Templar bloke, yeah. Jacques de Malay's friend.
Jacques de Malay's friendly Templar unnamed bloke that gets stabbed by an assassin.
Love that guy. He's my favourite guy.
He's my favourite Assassin's Creed character ever.
When you're fighting the guy and he's got a normal sword, and then it goes into the cutscene and he's just got the Sword of Eden. It falls to the ground. It's great. Quality.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. But I guess for some last thoughts on this Valhalla Story trailer, or like the Assassin-esque type things, did it get you at all excited and just remind you of, like, especially that key art of like, this is what we want to see in this game?
The key art is fantastic.
I tell you what I really liked, and it gave me very much vibes of like AC2 Brotherhood Revelations, was seeing Eivor standing in what looked like an abandoned building, but it was like an assassin building where you've got the assassin banners behind him and stuff.
Yeah, that got me excited. That bit.
My God.
Oh, that was good. Like, yes, get me this game.
So
well, that's how I felt about that. I was like, I do want to play this now. Like, I do want to play this.
And imagine going to Constantinople at the end of this game, because that's where
could you imagine,
like Basim came from. Like, he takes you back to Constantinople, and the game ends in Constantinople. Like, the connection.
I mean, it could be cool, but like, what would be the relevance though?
What do you mean?
Well, like, I feel like there'd be a lot more relevance in going to various other locations. Like, you could, like, I mean, we already speculated you could tie in Altair's apple into the story in some way.
Yeah, you could, but what I mean is, like, Constantinople, there's obviously hidden ones there. The Assassins didn't take Marsyaf until, like, the 10th, 11th century. So it would have been way after this. So you can't go to Marsyaf in this game at the end. It's not.
No, but you could
accurate.
go to Jerusalem. You could go to Solomon's Temple.
But I feel like Constantinople's just as equal, because that's where Altair's library keys were spread. It's where Ezio went. Like, it connects to a lot of things.
Yeah, but this is way before any of that happened.
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
I understand that. But so's going to Jerusalem. It's way before any of it happened.
Yeah, but if you were to take the apple there,
though,
if you were to put the apple there, because also that would link Bayek to Altair as well, because Bayek's apple is Altair's apple. So if you were to take the apple, that came from Egypt to there, that'd be kind of cool. And it'd also be like a very Viking thing, exploring new lands as well.
I want to know what the fuck happened to Bayek's apple. Come on, I do want to know.
Well, somehow it got to Solomon's Temple, because it's the same.
Because all it did was, at the end of Curse of the Pharaohs, right? That scene ended, it went off with Sutek, and then you could find Sutek's body at a snake den in the middle of nowhere without an apple there. That apple is what I want to know about. That's the
right,
one.
I see. Yeah.
I don't care about the other one. That one's.
My question is, what about the 23 apples in the Greek islands?
Yeah, what happened to those?
What happened to those ones, guys?
Well, obviously, Cassandra or Alexios ate them for fucking dinner. That's what happened there, then transformed into the gigantic immortal two-piece suit.
Incredible. That's what I want to see.
Well, was there anything else you wanted to go over before we wrap this episode up?
I did have another thing to mention about the story track. It was about Constantinople specifically. Is interestingly, right? I want to know, because it wasn't until later on in Assassin's Creed lore, it was like a few hundred years later, I think, that the assassins had a foundation or a footing in Constantinople. So I'm interested to know whether they're gonna all talk about that, because obviously this has got to be a retcon. But what could happen is, I guess, the Templars at some point forced them out of Constantinople. I'm just wondering whether this is going to come into the story at any point at all, whether anyone's going to acknowledge it, whether it's in the modern day or anything, whether they're going to be like, oh, there were assassins in Constantinople before we know there were assassins in Constantinople, because historically, like, not historically, but in lore-wise, it's,
before they made themselves
a few
known.
hundred years later that we know
you gotta lay the
assassins were there. So
if you got to lay the groundwork somehow, right? I mean,
we know they're around the Middle East.
So
And
yeah,
this is
why
during
not?
the Byzantine-
Yeah,
this
but
is
You
during the
can
Byzantine
do a light
Empire as
retcon
well.
like that and make it sort of fit, but as long as the presence is, they're still, they're very much so in the shadows, and they're few and far between in the sense that there's not many there, but they're there laying the groundwork for eventually what becomes how we know Constantinople to be for the Brotherhood, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, potentially. I guess you could. I'm just
You've-
sick of
you
these
got
fucking
it.
retcons.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, ideally they wouldn't retcon anything, but after Odyssey, you know what?
I mean, after
I don't give a
Origins,
shit.
The funny thing is, and I've said this before, is that Odyssey wouldn't have as many plot holes if Origins didn't exist. In terms of the Darius stuff and all of that stuff, that honestly there'd be no issues other than just like it being a shit DLC. There'd be no lore issues.
So there'd be plenty of
Origins
issues.
didn't exist. So it's Origins' fault, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Origins bad, and Odyssey good. That's what it comes down to. At the end of the day.
Yeah, true. Well,
Yeah.
No context, 4 Pillars having a field day.
And
You can
Amunet has
gather-
2 tombs, so
Well, you could gather that if the Roman Empire was a strong seat of the Templar / Order of the Ancients, they would have continued on in the Byzantine Empire, what remained, and they, were in control of Constantinople from like 300 something AD until 1453 when the Ottomans came. So during Valhalla, it was the Byzantines. So you'd assume it was in large control of the Order of the Ancients in Constantinople. So there might be hidden ones there, but they wouldn't be well known. They wouldn't have a strong footing. They'd just sort of be a small bureau or group, and they might even work in the outskirts and countryside around it because it's too
Makes
dangerous to be
sense.
in there.
makes sense. And there's
Yeah.
also as well the potential that there's that transition. Like we know currently, well, not necessarily currently, but post Origins, you've got the assassins are working inside of Rome, and I assume they take control of it in some way. But then when you get to Ezio's time, it's completely controlled by Templars. So there's always those shifts back and forth.
Yeah, I assume Rome is still, and the papacy is still in large control of Order of the Ancients Templars up until Ezio's time. Like for a long, long time, their influence there, I'd imagine.
You don't think that the assassins took control? I feel like
No,
Aya's
I don't
whole...
think. I think I'm sure Amunet did a lot, but I don't think they took control.
They
of
killed
Rome.
Caesar though.
They did kill Caesar, but how long did it
feel
last? How long does it last?
Well, I don't know how long it would have lasted for, but I feel like I mean, you could probably find it somewhere, but I feel like Rome was under assassin control for a decent amount of time.
Well,
after
not
that,
even
I think.
assassin's control, assassin liberation. Like it was just under not
okay.
Templar
The
control.
liberation of Roma has begun.
begun again.
Again.
No, for the first
I
time.
think they should
Again is what Ezio
retcon
should have
that
said.
in.
That-
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
In the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood Remastered 2, they should put in that
Assassin's
line,
Creed
just have
Brotherhood
Roger Craig
Remastered
Smith.
2. You're thinking
Tom
ahead,
Holland's
aren't
face, yeah.
With
Yeah.
Tom Holland as Ezio, yeah.
With Tom Holland's
beautiful.
face deep faked as Jason Schrieier, please.
Desmond is
All right.
Jason Schrieier, Ezio is Tom Holland.
Ah, bugger.
Jesus Christ.
Amazing.
Well, before we go down the meme rabbit hole, with all that being said,
Let's not
ladies
go
and
down
gentlemen, thank you for watching / listening to this episode of the As Always podcast. Ethan, as always, thank you for joining us.
That's no problem.
You've not only been a guest this year, you've also been a co-host. You're a massive part of the show, as is George, and we'll have the two of you on for 4 Pillars show to preview Assassin's Creed Valhalla right before it comes out. We'll have our final sort of thoughts, predictions before that. So, be ready for that in the coming weeks. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Of course, we are powered by the great people over at patreon.com/as always. We wouldn't be here without you. And for $1 a month, you get exclusive access to the Clubhouse podcast, the best podcast on the internet. There's over 90 episodes you can go and stream at your leisure right now for just $1. It's $12 a year. It's an amazing
Wow.
bargain. Plus early access to videos that James and I do, other exclusive fun perks, early access to the Cinema Room podcast, the Spoilercast podcast. There's so much for just $1 that you can get. Head
That's
over there.
crazy.
And for the $5 tier and up, you get on the credits at the end of every podcast. So to thank those sweet vintage lads, we have King Richard III, Josh Duh Vil Yay, Damian, Olberik, Avry Dobbs, Cat94, Real Cinema, Colton the Creampie King, Ballsack47, Casey Wood, Pink Flame 303, Limberstrad, Murray 5380, Ooga Booga Wooga, Chinga Wooga, Tuga Woogas Luga, Suga Vuga Puga Wooga, Suga Zuga Yuga Duga, Jisma
What?
Olsen, Kimasaba Gamer Creampie, Seth, Sicarius aka Kieran, Henry, Justin, Aragon, Adam Sunling, Has a Nice Cock, T-Man or Travis, Krista of... Oh, this is a new one. Of...
Krista Sophia Elida.
Oh, fuck. Thank you so much. It's just all one word, so I didn't know what was words.
Yeah, I did the same, and everyone made fun of me for it, but...
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Krista, Sophia, Elidia.
Or Elida, I
fuck,
don't know how you
fuck's
say
sake,
it.
Yeah, Elida, yep. BQ, Overlord, The Elder, Son of a Bitch, OG Doggo, Rav Jai, Gene, Joshua Mora, Brian Ford is really bad at Gwent, Joe, the Sexy Boy Smith, S. Jaws, Emil Catborg, Benedict Clubbers, Furious Coco, Noah Watts, Fishy, Ginkgo
Hello.
Swag, Master Bass, Max H, Luca, Winona Ryder, aka Lindsay from Destination Wedding, Joe the Lioness Charming, Ass Eating, Coke Snorting, Cat Killing, Whale Fearing, Founded Scarab, aka The First Eagle, is slow dancing in a burning room, Kassassin, The Creed, Nick Miller, Owen Brain, Walshy. To the next page, we have our editor, Josh J. Anderson. Hey, it's Fair Use Man, Smexy Dork, Gwen Hughes, Evan Brown, Radok, Fat Fuck Cuck. I'm not moving on from Rocket Man, Bleeding Edge 274, Marquis is shit and gay and I hate it. Just call me Ben Griggins. Alfie Rodbert, Philip Stillwagon, Jack DJ 1998, Gimme a Penis, Marcus, aka Blackburn, Frankie Gaffney, Mag, aka the guy who makes his own Assassin's Christmas, Kyle, the Swan swam over the sea, Swim Swan swim, the Swan swam back again, well swam Swan, Greenie's Weenie, Just Notter, Liam, Andy Cure, The Blue Cow, AC Landmarks, Heresy, aka Bad Assassin, Alexander, I Love You, Colonel Sanders is the best game of all time, Gamer Vids, Star Explorer, Rainy Not Sunny, Blake Lloyd, Louis de Leon, Lady Litzamania, Zeke Collins, Jackery also has that word that's hard to pronounce, Tristan Obigfell, Angel of Harlem, Big Dick 666999, Zeppo, Forquin, Josh the Second, Christian0210, Edgar is doing bits in Tsushima, aka http .yokai. Morgan Machac, Isaac Zilen, Otaku World 7, these are the new names, Aiden Francis, Tyler Corbin, and Christian Rowe. Thank you, Sweet Vintage. Thanks for Power That podcast.
Well, that took about... I feel a lot older now.
Yeah, you are older,
just...
technically.
I feel a lot older. I don't feel like that. I feel like that took years. That was that was the.
It did
I ran out of
you,
breath.
yeah.
I ran out of breath just listening to you. That was.
It's what it is, man.
The people really do fuck with you with that, though, don't they?
They really do. They
really do.
Some people just
and
change
you can
it
fuck
to
with us too for $5 or more over on patreon.com/, as always. Thank you, everyone. Love you.
Yeah, wonderful. Right.
Amazing. All right, guys. Again, Ethan, thank you for joining us as always.
No worries.
And James, obviously, thank you for not, being here and not.
Thanks for having me on, Tyler.
Appreciate that.
It's been a blast.
And thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. We will see you all for Clubhouse next week and in 2 weeks' time for another episode of the As Always podcast. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.